to another edition of the Word. My name is AB, and we are back again. And so today, we're going to talk about maintaining your relationship with God. So, I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony in that, throw it around somewhere there in between, or start with it, whatever the case may be. But I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony of how I came to Christ, or how I got saved, and then we're gonna keep walking with it. So I got saved in 2006. Well, before I got saved, let me just give you a backdrop of what my life was like before I got saved. Well, before I got saved, we were party people. I loved parties. I loved, getting together with many people, getting to know many people and stuff like that. And so as a result, we would go partying every weekend and so on. So we were three. It was me, my cousin, and then there was another friend of ours. He was a childhood friend, so we was like brothers with this guy. So I would call him Alpha for now. So one day we were staying in this location, and then Alpha had apparently a girlfriend in this location. And one of the evenings, it was a Wednesday evening. I think it was a little bit cold because it was June, July, around there. And in one of the evenings, Alpha kept bugging us. Alpha said he wants to go meet his girlfriend, and we were shocked. We were shocked, like, yo, what do you mean, girlfriend? I mean, we are new in this location and stuff like that. Now, the thing of us was that we were proud, young, and stupid at the same time. So we really didn't know whether we were wrong or right, or whatever the case may be. I mean, we would show up to a place, or show up at a place, and then just start flexing, start showing off and stuff like that, because we really didn't know much. All we know was that party life, that looking good life and stuff like that. So it was about 2 weeks in this location, and then here's Alpha saying, no, I want to see my girlfriend. And I was like, yo, you gotta stop playing around, because we are new in this location. Well, after some time of nagging, me and my cousin agreed with Alpha that, okay, let's go see your girlfriend, so that you could just stop talking about her, because you're disturbing us and stuff like that. So we went, and then this guy Alpha takes us, our friend, he takes us to a place, and we first went to a house. And then there was a lady out there, and we asked the lady, or elderly lady, maybe 50s or 60s, somewhere there. So we asked her if she knows this young lady we are looking for. Okay? And then we asked her, we are looking for this young lady, and the elderly lady says, no, she went to church. We're like, church on Wednesday? And the elderly lady's like, yeah, they have church on every Wednesdays. They had a youth service at the time. So now, us not knowing what a youth service is, we just thought, yeah, whatever, let's just go meet the lady and then get it done with. So then she points us to church. She showed us the church. Now the church was this beat down shack that was built in a sort of like an ark. I mean, it looked like an ark, and because I remember back then I was laughing at this very specific church, and I was laughing because it had two huge doors, that open, that flaps open and wide and so on. And before we entered the church ground, I started laughing at this church, and I started pointing at this church, and I was just laughing because it was just funny. I was saying, why would somebody come out and build a church with zinc and really have people come to this place? This place looks ugly. For me, it was just all fun and games. It was fun and jokes, because from where we come from, church is that big, beautiful building with a lot of colorful windows and a huge cross right at the center. Didn't make sense that this church was actually not a big, beautiful building, but it was just a shack that was built in a sort of ugly manner. Anyway, we came to the church, and then we knocked at the big gates. At that time, I can still remember I'm laughing and giggling because this place is funny, and my cousin, he's like elbow bumping me and saying, "Yo, show some respect. We're at the church and stuff like that." But for me, it was just fun and games. And then a young lady comes out, and then she says, "Yo, what you guys looking for?" We're like, "No, we're looking for this young lady. Her mom. We were at the place, and they told us that she's here." And then this young lady says, "Yeah, oh yeah, she's here, but she's just busy right now with something." And at this time, I'm like, "Yo, man, this lady, we just can't get hold of her." And then this young lady that we're talking to, she flips the discussion, or she flips the subject, and then she says, "Yo, we're having youth tonight. Wouldn't you guys like to join us in youth?" And I'm like, "What is youth?" Because we didn't know what is youth. Youth service. What is youth service? At the time, the two doors were still closed. They were open. They were not locked. They were open, but they were shut, so we couldn't see inside. Because this young lady just came out, and then she closed the door behind her. And then we said, "Yeah, but we're a little bit in a hurry right now. We just wanted to see that young lady." And she said, "Well, she's gonna take a little bit of time. Maybe you guys should wait a bit, and when she's done, she's gonna be right back at you." And she said, "Maybe you guys should come and have a seat inside with other people." Like, other people? What do you mean other people? She said, "No, you can take a look inside." And then I remember opening that big door, and then I looked inside, take a peek inside, and then I saw a lot of young people sitting there and discussing. I don't know what they were doing, because they were smiling and talking, giggling, fellowship sort of like happening and so on. And then I told my cousin that, "Yo, you gotta come and see this," because at that time we didn't care about the youth service. What we saw at that time was beautiful girls up in there. And so we were just thinking, yes, this is it. This is the place we want to be. All of a sudden, from being in a hurry, we changed. And then I told the lady, "No, we're definitely going to wait for this young lady. We're gonna wait inside." And as we entered, we had this thing of speaking in signs and showing each other signs. In approximately maybe 5 minutes, not 5 even, maybe 3 minutes, we already showed each other with our eyes who is speaking who. What I mean is, we as friends, as 3 friends, we had sign language that, if I show a certain sign, I mean that girl is mine, leave her alone. So we would know if my cousin showed me a sign, I would know that he's interested in this lady. And if then Alpha shows the sign, I know he's interested in that. And if I show a sign, then they would also know. And within 3 minutes of stepping in that place, we already had shown each other which lady belongs to who. And the funny thing is, we don't even know these people. All we know is there are young ladies up in here, and they were beautiful. I think from my point of view, I think on that specific day, I think God has just made those young ladies more beautiful, because it was like something we never saw, and we just decided, yep, this is it. Funny how God can use different ways to save a person. From that night became 2 nights, because we finished that service and we came back for another service the previous week. We came for another service and another service and another service, and eventually we started knowing these people by name. And one night, this guy was preaching. I think he was a youth leader. He was preaching, and this guy spoke about hell. He said, if you're up in here and maybe you never received Christ, it doesn't matter how many times you go to church. If you never received Christ as your Lord and personal Savior, this might be your last chance. And I was thinking in my head, I said, yeah, I've been to church a lot of times, But honestly speaking, I've never done what this guy is talking about, receiving Christ as my Lord and personal Savior. Now, you see, at this point, there were times back in our lives when we used to watch TBN movies, because TBN used to air these movies like Left Behind and stuff like that. So we every now and then we would watch these movies, and these movies always, they sort of left me hanging because I wanted to find out more. Like, is it real? Is heaven real? Is Jesus real? Is the end coming and stuff like that? But I think God was using these movies to prepare me for what He was to do in my life. So at this time, I was thinking in myself, if I get up, so we would have fun, just making fun out of, whatever blunder the person would make. So at this time, all these things are running through my head. I'm trying to figure out, should I get up and take the step, and I'm fighting in my head, my mind, I'm wrestling, and I'm thinking to myself, what if it's true? What if this is my last day? And the funny thing is, all our heads were bowed down, and then I decided I'm gonna take a step. Even if my friends are gonna laugh at me, I'm gonna take a step. And this friendship is not, our friendship was way too deep, it was way too deep. Our friendship was way too deep. We went through a lot of things together, and at this very splitting moment, it was gonna be Christ or my friends. And at that moment, I chose Jesus Christ, and I stepped up and I walked in front. My eyes were not wide open, but just enough, because I was still bowed down as I was going. And when the guy started saying, "Thank you, my brother, for making this decision, you will not regret it," and stuff like that, I looked at my side. And I looked at my side, I saw my cousin and I saw Alpha standing right next to me. And that night, we gave our lives to Jesus Christ that night. And ever since then, it has been not easy. It's been really a walk with God. Sometime later, we came to find out that Alpha, our friend, was actually already born again. So it sort of shook me. It sort of shook something in me, because I asked Alpha, "Dude, we have been friends for forever, and you have been born again, and you never told us." Because the thing that shocked me a lot was, this guy was with us daily. I remember there were days, that he would disappear, and then he would reappear. And if you ask him, "Where were you?" he would be like, "Yeah, no, I just had to go check something. I just had to go do something." And it didn't make sense for me. But anyway, we never wanted to make it a big thing. We just said, "Yeah, whatever." But then, when we got to find out that this guy was actually born again, this thing shocked me. And I asked Alpha, you were our friend. We were rolling together. We were doing a lot of stuff together. And you were born again all this time? And this guy says, "Yeah, no, he was born again. He just didn't know how to bring out the word to us." And I'm like, dude, if there was any person that was perfect to do this, it was you, because you knew us 100%. You knew what we liked. You knew what we didn't like. You knew everything about us. And Alpha just didn't have any explanation whatsoever on what happened and why he was hiding being born again. And sometime later, Alpha actually backslided, and we still praying for him. It was really a hard thing, because at that time I had to make a decision, because we had this logo or this belief or thing that we set up. We used to say, "All for one and one for all," that type of thing. one for all and all for one. That if one makes a decision to pull back on a specific thing, and all of us would go, because we are together, we're brothers. That day, I made a very, very personal decision. I told Alpha, look, I never tried Jesus Christ. I tried bars, I tried alcohol, I tried every other crazy thing that is to be mentioned, but I never tried Christ. And I want to know more. If you choose right now not to follow Christ, I am not going to follow you. I'm not. I told the Alpha that, yo, if you're making a decision, I'm out. I'm not doing that. So Alpha went, my cousin decided, no, he's not going with Alpha this time around. And, my cousin stayed. And it's sometimes, when I sit down and think about everything, how everything went down until now, it's sort of crazy. Now, the other thing is, the ladies we saw on the first day we came, because at this moment I'm married, my cousin is married. We didn't marry any of those ladies that we saw, and this is why I'm convinced that on that specific day God just used these ladies and increased their beauty, whatever the case may be, just to keep us, and it was just time for us to make a decision and so on. And you see, ever since then, I got married, cousin got married, and we grew up, we grew in the word, and we matured spiritually, and we started understanding certain things about God and so on. Now, what I want to share really is maintaining a relationship with God. Now, the decision you make to follow God is very personal. I'm not gonna lie to you, or sugarcoat it and stuff like that. It's very personal. That day when I had to put my foot down and tell all my best friends, but practically my brothers, that I'm following Christ, that was a hard pill to swallow, but I had to do that because I understood that following Christ is not about friends, not about family, not about whoever is hanging around you. It's about you and God. Jesus came down and there were no friends with him when he was hanging on that cross. His disciples ran, they scattered, and he was there alone, because the mission was for him to come and die alone, and he knew that. It was a personal decision he took. And so from this moment on, I view my relationship with God as very personal. From the time when we broke our friendship, because we were also musicians back in the world, and then when we became Christians, we are now gospel rappers. I'll leave you a link below for those of you who never heard my music. We are gospel rappers too. We do ministry, we do minister in music as well. We went solo. My cousin is still doing music, I'm still doing music, but the group break down, because not because we don't care for each other no more, but it's because we come to realize that following Christ is very personal and should be taken as such. Many people make the greatest mistake of approaching God as a group, and then when the group melts down, their relationship with God also melts down. But I want to encourage you that your relationship with God should always be kept personal, and maintaining that relationship is personal. When you are in a group setting, when your friends do something, you are pressured to follow that. When your friends jump, you also want to jump. When your friends sing, you also want to sing. But the relationship with God is not such. The relationship with God is very personal. It's to the point where I have to make a decision on what am I gonna do? Am I gonna stand in God? Am I gonna fall away? You know, ever since then, I faced numerous challenges and numerous trials and tests and so on. But because my relationship with God is so personal, I just stand and trust in God and hold on to God. And ever since then, I've never looked to the left and to the right, because I know that it's only me and God at the end of the day. You see, the thing that some people don't understand is when we will be judged by God, it's not gonna be you, God, and your pastor, or you, God, and your mother, or you, God, and your father, you, God, and your friend. No, it's gonna be you and God. It's that personal. So when you come to understand about how to maintain your relationship with God, you need to understand, first of all, it's personal. It has nothing to do with a group setting. We can gather as a congregation, we can gather as friends, as a youth, whatever club it might be, but at the end of the day, it's you and God. That you're going to be standing in front of God, you're going to be kneeling down to God, you're going to be speaking to God. So the danger of not being able to maintain your relationship with God is this: you actually don't know who you are, because you'll be following anything you hear, anything that comes, you'll go. You'll be looking for people to first approve you to do something. You will be expecting people to give you a heads up for you to feel that you're doing something right and stuff like that. But if you look at Jesus' life, Jesus never had or never depended on people's opinions. Jesus knew exactly why he came, and he knew that at some point his disciples were going to leave him alone and run away, and even told them this, and he was already prepared for that. And because of that, Jesus was very focused. Now, when you want to understand how to maintain your relationship with God, you have to understand how personal that relationship with God is. And maintaining that relationship means you have to focus. If you have a lot of people involved, if it is you, God, and the next person, then you won't be able to maintain your relationship with God, because you also depend on the next person and what they think and what they feel for you to move ahead. Now, I'm not an expert in maintaining a relationship with God. I'm just giving you an encouragement that you might be out there, a young person, and you are maybe having these friends, your friends that are always with you and stuff like that, and you might think that me, my friends, and God, we cool. But actually, it's you and God at the end of the day. It's never you, your friends, and God, but it's you and God. Because your friends might change tomorrow. Your friends may decide not to follow God tomorrow. But what are you going to decide personally? And this is the point where I found myself. My friend decided he doesn't want to follow God. And I said, that's your personal decision that you made. It was not my decision. My decision is to follow God. And you see, understanding how to maintain your personal relationship with God, your relationship with God, is very important, because tomorrow whoever you are following may change. That's what the Bible said. The Bible says people change, but God stays forever. God stays the same forever. Yesterday, today, and whatever, he is still the same. Now, if you follow people in order for you to have a relationship with God, then I can guarantee you that you are already in a big mess, because people can change any day, anytime. But the question is, you. How about you? Are you also going to change with them? Are you also going to make the same decision they did? Or are you going to stand alone and say, look, listen, I understand. Even if the whole world says they don't want to follow God, I alone am willing to say I am going to follow God until the very end. And you see, friends, a lot of times people want to follow God in a group setting. And this is This is the downfall of many people, because you don't follow God in a group setting. If you go through the Bible and check how God has operated with different servants of old, you will come to understand that God is way more personal than a group setting. I mean, God spoke to Abraham alone. He didn't bring Abraham and Moses together. He didn't bring another person together. There are many servants that God have chosen personally alone for a specific work. Because you see, sometimes when you are crowded and shrouded with a lot of people's opinions and ideas and thoughts and stuff, you actually don't know which one is right and which one should you follow and which one is this and which one is that, to the point where you lose your focus. And when you lose your focus, you no longer understand that how deep the relationship with God is. So you see, for me to be standing up until today as a young man, still following God, married young. I got married very young, and not because of peer pressure or not because of many people, but because one of the things was I wanted to always please God. Up until today, my mission and aim personally is to always please God. I don't care what people think about me. I have grown mature that I'm only God conscious. Even if somebody shoots me down about something, I've been at many places where people said I'm too holy, where people said I'm too preachy, where people said I'm too straight to the book and stuff like that. I've been called names for sticking to why I follow God the way I follow God. But you see, those things, they never move me, because I know at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to just me and God. So if I'm standing today, first of all, glory be to God that I'm still standing today and I can be encouraging you. But I want to encourage you, don't follow God in a group setting. Don't follow God as friends. No, because my friend is there, I also want to be there. Who is there? I also want to be there. But let me tell you, one morning you're going to wake up and that friend's not going to be there, and then you're going to be lost because you really have no backbone. You can't stand by yourself and say, look, I don't care who is not coming, I don't care who is not going, or whatever the case may be. I'm standing and I'm following God right down to the very end. The other thing I told my friend was, well, one day if you're going to decide to come back, well, at least you know where to find me. I'll be in God. I don't care what people say, but to maintain my personal relationship with God, I have come to understand that some friendships need to die, because some of you have friendships that are keeping you from even understanding who God is. Some friendships are keeping you from even going further into maturing in the Lord Jesus Christ. And the effect of this is that some friendships has to die. I don't mean hate the person. I don't mean have a fight with the person and stuff like that. But when your friendship is controlling, and your friendship is the one that determines how your relationship with God goes, then there is a trouble, and you have to change that. So to encourage any and every young person out there, I don't care where in this world you find yourself and you might be watching this video, listen here, God is first of all person, and you have to approach him on that level. My friend can't approach God for me. My mom can't approach God for me. My wife can't approach God for me. I have to approach God myself. And I have to make that personal decision to say, I am standing with God. Down or up, in or out. So down or out, up or down, made up my mind. I'm following Christ. And this is it. When you're following Christ as a young person, stand. Stand. You gotta stand, because people change. That is a fact, and that's a reality. And when people do change, at least you want to know that you are standing. You're standing. This it's not really an easy thing per se. It's difficult because sometimes you feel you're just standing alone. But until God at least sends you that person that will stand with you, has the Christ mindedness like you, I would not advise you to, generalize your relationship with Christ. It's very personal. So I hope this encourages somebody and blesses somebody. Please do subscribe and share the channel. Please do leave your comments. Maybe you guys had some friendships that had to die, and some of you may be still struggling because you're not used to doing things personally. Leave a comment below. It's very critical for you to leave a comment. It helps us understand that you understand what we're talking about and stuff like that. I hope you guys are blessed and have a great one. God bless.